No other game has captured my interest quite like Red Dead Redemption 2. Although I do not have the exact metrics, I would estimate that I have put well over 200 hours into this Western-style open-world game. I have done almost all there is to do. Every story mission and side quest. I've played hours of poker, five-finger fillet, and blackjack. Even tried my hand at some fishing and spent who knows how long in search of the pelts of the most legendary animals across the states of Ambarino, New Hanover, and Lemoyne. This is a game filled to the brim with content, all of it there for a reason and worthy of the player's time. There is so much to do and so much to find and uncover in Rockstar's rendition of the American Southwest. In this video essay, I hope to convey just what it is about this game that has kept me coming back for the past 4 years, and why I believe I will still be playing even in the distant future.
I ain't looking for forgiveness. It ain't about that. But don't forgive me. Just take the money and get out of here, please. I know I ruined your life. I suffer for it every day. But don't let yourself get killed for pride. I seen it kill too many folk.
Tale of the Vanderlyn Gang is to many the magnum opus of what a video game story can accomplish. With the feel of a masterfully crafted Hollywood feature, yet given the runtime of a 60-hour game, allowing the writers to take their time, focusing on establishing the world building and narrative elements at play. This tale of the waning days of the Wild West has long stuck with me, and now that I have logged 200 plus hours of playtime and the gameplay has become stale and repetitive, it's the story that continually draws me back. What I believe separates this story from other games, particularly those previously developed by Rockstar, is the excellent characterizations.
Oh, you're a good man. I just wish you'd done it before he worked himself into the grave. But you know, maybe you and your friend that lent him the money could do things differently, like not threaten a man. Excuse me.
I'm sorry, ma'am. I really am.
Rockstar faced a significant challenge from those returning from the original game. John Marston is an extremely beloved character, yet they deliberately chose to make you play as Arthur Morgan, while John was relegated to a side character, constantly there, yet almost always in the background. Initially, I and many others were skeptical of this approach, yet by the time the credits rolled, I heralded Arthur Morgan as gaming's greatest protagonist, and when it came time to play as John in the epilogue, I wanted nothing more than to go back to the days of roaming the Wild West with Arthur Morgan. It's a testament to how masterfully written Arthur is that I didn't for a moment wish I was playing as John Marston. Arthur's terminal diagnosis shows what being faced with one's own mortality can do to a man. Lesser men would unravel, turning bitter, resentful, and angry, yet Arthur Morgan, a man who sees himself as no more than a common killer, with no capacity for goodness, harnesses his pain, his fear, and his grief, giving him the chance at redemption. The diagnosis gives Arthur something so many of us lack until it's far too late: perspective.
Only the thing is, since then I've started seeing things differently.
He sees how far the gang has fallen, how Dutch has turned from his once coveted ideals, becoming worse than the very systems that he is trying so desperately to fight. Yet he also sees a chance for John, for Jack, for Abigail, to escape the life that has them ensnared, to build something better for the future. to have a future, and in his last days, while he still has the ability to fight, he does just that. For the first time in his life, he fights for others, puts them above himself, gives them a chance at the life that he wanted so desperately, yet never got the chance to experience. The life that was taken from him.
I had a son once, years ago. Don't talk about him much.
Oh, what was his name?
Isaac. His mother, Eliza, the waitress I met. When she got pregnant, she knew who I was, what my life was. I didn't want to promise nothing I couldn't keep, but I said I'd do right by them. Every few months, I'd stop by there for a few days. He was such a good kid. She was too, I guess. Just a kid, 19.
What happened?
I got there one day and saw 2 crosses outside. I knew right away.
He gives John and Abigail a chance at a life without violence, without having to constantly look over their shoulder. He gives Jack a choice to make his own story without being forced down the outlaw's path. And in the end, as he sits upon the cliff overlooking the sunrise, he dies just as he wished. Arthur Morgan earns his redemption arc. Yet he is a far deeper character than many realize. Through completing side quests and stranger missions, we gain an entirely new perspective of Arthur. Watching him save the Downs family, absolve the debt of a dead miner's widow, and converse with Sister Calderon about the fear he faces of his imposing death.
Sure.
Perhaps you could help somebody. Helping makes you really happy.
But I still don't believe in nothing.
Often, neither do I.
Huh?
But then I meet someone like you, and everything makes sense.
You're too smart for me, sister. I guess I'm afraid.
There is nothing to be afraid of, Mr. Morgan. Take a gamble that love exists and do a loving act.
All aboard! I shall try.
I know you will.
It's in these moments, when Arthur is at his lowest, yet chooses to help others, to do the right thing without asking for anything in return, that in my eyes solidified him as my gaming's greatest protagonist. I urge anyone who hasn't already to take a look at Arthur's journal, which is updated frequently. His journal gives another perspective into the psyche of Arthur Morgan. Through this lens, we see Arthur's struggles and his dreams. We see a man come to terms with death and vow to do good with the little time he has left. We learn how much regret he holds, how he would do it all differently if he could. This type of character development would be plastered front and center in lesser games, yet is relegated to a quite forgettable journal section. A missed opportunity in my eyes, as many players most likely never took the time to read each entry. Yet even though I'm sure most have never flipped through the pages of his journal, the fact that he has still gone down as an upper echelon all-time gaming protagonist speaks volumes about the character and nuance that he possesses.
You know, a long time ago, I was like you.
I very much doubt that.
Oh, no, I did terrible things, awful things. And I could not stop doing terrible things because I did not believe that goodness existed. And then one day, I saw that love did exist, and ever since then, doing bad things became, well, not impossible, but ridiculous.
I guess I'm just hoping for a dignified exit.
I shall pray for you.
Oh, I'm not a religious man, sister. I'm an outlaw.
Oh, What fun. Religion is just a word. Hearts are rarely pure, but equally they are rarely impure either.
That's an interesting way of putting it.
To me, God is people and people are God, so we must all do what we can.
The prequel nature of this story works quite well, allowing us to see how the characters we knew and loved in the first game came to be. The slow descent of Dutch from charismatic leader and father figure to the heartless murderer who John meets again in 1911 is a truly captivating tale to witness. It's heartbreaking to know that this man who seems to hold such strong convictions will eventually become far more vile than the so-called corrupted systems of power that he claims to oppose. However, the signs of Dutch's descent begin even before the events of the game. In early missions, we hear about Dutch's murder of a young girl, Heidi McCord, an innocent woman on the Blackwater Ferry. This event symbolizes the point of no return for Dutch. If one can justify the murder of an innocent girl, what other atrocities can they commit and still reason away? As the story progresses, we see Dutch more and more trying to reframe his actions through the lens of survival. Using eagle flies, killing Leviticus Cornwall, and leaving Abigail at the mercy of Agent Milton.
We just gonna let the boy be made an orphan?
It ain't like that.
What is it like?
I wanna live, cowpoke. I still got the choice. Dutch, it's just a girl.
You're right. Micah, it pains me to say it, Arthur, but he's right.
Dutch!
Come on, boys.
Well, I guess that's that then.
These actions are a far cry from the man Arthur and John remember, the one who would share the spoils of his heists with the poor, who put a blanket around a grieving widow, and who would stop at nothing to retrieve one of his own from the law. Yet by the end of the story, Dutch is that man no longer, twisted and distorted. In his fight for survival, he became just as vile as the systems he despised so greatly. It's not just the main characters, however, that get the spotlight. Rockstar uses the 60+ hour runtime to great effect, taking the time to establish the new players within the gang. By the end of my playthrough, I truly did feel a connection to most of the 20+ members of the Vanderlyn gang. I still have fond memories of hunting the legendary grizzly with Hosea, storming Braithwaite Manor with the entire gang at my back, and getting blackout drunk with Lenny in the Valentine Saloon. Yet it's not just the main missions that flesh out these characters throughout one's playthrough. Through regularly appearing side missions and frequent visits to the camp, all members of the gang will get their time to shine. This game is the sum of decades of experience from the talented minds at Rockstar. They took all they had learned about storytelling, world design, gameplay, and interaction and created something which I believe will be very hard for them to top. With Laszlo Jones, Leslie Benzies, and Dan and Sam Hauser all recently leaving the company, and Rockstar and Take-Two Interactive's turn to the online microtransaction formula, it becomes hard to picture a Grand Theft Auto 6 or Red Dead Redemption 3 outclassing the pure skill and talent put on display by the great minds at Rockstar, which is why I believe Red Dead Redemption 2 will end up as Rockstar's Magnum Opus. Yet, if any developer can prove me wrong, it would be Rockstar Games.